Do you had like an idea of like how I should do this or how she should sound like?
I guess they just told me to like go a little deeper or something, and so I did, and it just became this more thing. First is Jennifer Hale, and then it's me, and then it's Griffin. Like, that is insane to like just be sandwiched between those two.
What do you think about the game yourself, Immortals of Aveum?
It just had like the most unfortunate timing, I think, of being released right between Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield. The job is getting rejected. Like, you just have to keep auditioning, and it's a numbers game until you eventually audition for someone and happen to be what they are looking for.
Hey, what's up everybody? Welcome to Behind the Voice. I'm joined by Anna Brisbin, who you might know has played Viola in Bayonetta 3, Kenzie in Immortals of Aveum, and recently A.B.A. in Guilty Gear Strive. Thank you so much for being here. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
I know you have done quite a few interviews before this. I just want to know, like, obviously you've been voice acting for long. You've done voices, you've done impressions, all of that. You're here now. You've been in video games now. What has that been like? You know, now you're seeing your names in credits. You're doing some of these interviews. What has it been like from then till now?
Yeah. It's weird because I started on YouTube, and that's not like the norm for voice actors.
Yeah.
It's becoming more of a thing now, at least like social media as a starting point. But most people just know me from YouTube. Some people know me from voice acting, but most people know me from YouTube. But my YouTube is voiceover / impressions centric, so it does like bleed in. So interviews for me started as like a YouTube thing, like, how'd you get started on this YouTube thing? What are you doing with these voices?
Yeah.
And then as I've done more and more notable roles or high profile games, it's just like kind of slowly edged into interviews talking more about that than the YouTube side of things. So it's an interesting like ride to go on.
Yeah, it must be crazy. I cannot imagine how that must be. And you know, you still continue to do games. You continue to voice impressions. You're still doing that. But how has this year been so far? We are in May. It's crazy. We are already in May.
Pretty good. I mean, I booked A.B.A. for Guilty Gear in January, and then it came out in March, and that is
wow.
That is a very quick turnaround. I still have things that I recorded in like 2021 that have not come out, and so that was a very quick turnaround, and I did not expect it to be as big as it was. So that's been very cool. And then otherwise, it's been a good year. I've been chilling. I fostered a puppy for a few months. She got adopted by my friend.
Wow.
And yeah, just kind of been streaming and auditioning and working every now and then in voiceover, and then learning how to play Guilty Gear for the first time and trying to wean myself off of Baldur's Gate 3.
Very hard to do.
And yeah, it's been good.
Wow, that's amazing. Yeah, you have so many things to do, and you just mentioned you're doing voiceover, you're doing a little bit of YouTube here, you're also streaming. How do you balance all of this? Is that a thing that you do? Like, I'm gonna do this, I'm gonna plan these here. Is that a thing, or is like you just go along?
It's just like if something has a deadline, then I focus on that, and then otherwise, I don't know. What do we have time for? What do I feel like doing right now? I try to prioritize jobs, voiceover jobs, and then auditions, and then right now streaming for the first time. I have a schedule where I'm streaming 3 times a week, so I try to prioritize that. And then YouTube has kind of fallen off the wayside for me. I only upload like once a month or so. I used to upload every single week, but after doing it every single week for 10 years, I have done most of the things I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I've done impressions of like all of my favorite shows and video games. But I've started to like watch more animation, because I think my theory for why I book more video games than animation is because I play so much video games. So I feel like it's more baked into my bones, like how video games sound.
Yeah.
So I've been trying to watch more animation, and that's been inspiring for me to like have new ideas for YouTube videos, like the new Pokemon anime series and like Husband Hotel, like watching these things about like, I can do impressions of these, and then I'll do a new video for that. But I'm trying not to like put pressure on myself to make a video just to make a video, and only do it when I'm like really inspired to now. So priority wise, YouTube has fallen down, and yeah, I just do what I have time for, and voiceover always gets the priority, basically.
Of course, yeah. Like you've been wanting to be an actor, and you're wanting to be be voice actor as well, which is interesting because I think you wanted to be like in person, like camera actor instead of like kind of voice acting, but that kind of came by as you started doing impressions. Why the interest came along towards voice acting? Was that something like, okay, let me try voices? Was that it?
I never like consciously was doing voices growing up. It's possible I was doing it without noticing, because I think I do have a tendency when I like hear something interesting to just like parrot it to myself because it sounds interesting and I want to like see where that lives. But I don't think I've been doing that all the time, but maybe I have and just not really realizing it. But the plan was on camera for sure, like film and TV.
Yeah.
And so I went to school for theater for that reason, but did not audition for a single play, and instead was auditioning for every film student project I could. And the freshman film students have to start with audio projects, little audio dramas and things. So I did a couple of those, and I was like, oh, this is fun. And I really enjoyed listening to the final product. The first one I did was like a Pokemon themed one. So I was like, heck yeah. So it was like extra like, oh, I can like hear myself being Ash Ketchum, and I can't believe this is my voice and it kind of sounds like him, and this is cool. And I didn't have to worry about what my face looked like. I didn't have to worry about hitting any marks or like continuity with poses or props or anything. Like there's so much less to like keep track of. I just get to play with my voice, and it was very fun. So pretty much from then on, I was like, I want to do more of this at least. And so I started the YouTube channel Brizzy Voices to be able to do more of it, like fan projects, bridge series, fan dubs and stuff. And then when my first viral video, Voice All the Pokemon, blew up in 2012, I was like, okay, maybe I like focus on this. I've always known that acting on camera, the audition process is brutal when you haven't like made it big. It is brutal to have to drive across town to multiple auditions and sit in a room full of people that look like you and read an audition for 2 minutes or less and then have to leave. And then I learned about voiceover, and like voiceover auditions you could just do from home, and like it's all so much easier, and there feels like less of a time limit on it, especially for women. It feels like on camera, if you haven't hit it big by 25, like you're gonna struggle. Like you could still be a working actor, but like you're really gonna struggle to like be super successful at it. But voiceover, that's not really a thing. So it felt like less pressure on that end. I could just relax and do it and have fun with it, and just so much less stress, it felt like to me, and more play, which is what I wanted out of it. So started putting all my eggs in that basket from then on.
That's great. I'm so glad that you did that, and I'm so happy that it found you in a way, like you were able to get into that, and there he is. Oh, there it is, coming here and along. But you know, you mentioned like you were trying, you did these different Pokemon themed work as well before, when you very early started, and you heard your voice like I sound like Ash at the same time. Was there any point in time during that moment where you maybe had like doubts in your head, or maybe scared of what that person thought in that corner over there? Was that something like judgments? Were you scared of them, or was that something that not really?
Before college, I think I was very self-conscious and shy, and I think university theater school like really opened me up. There's just by virtue of theater classes making you roll around on the floor and like act like animals, and just so much like cracking you open in theater school that I feel like I lost a lot of like worrying about looking stupid. And I think I have a good ear for whether something sounds right or doesn't. So if I try an impression, I can listen back to it. Usually I can hear it in my ears without listening to the recording, but not always. At least if I can listen to a recording, I can be like, all right, that's good enough. That's more than most people could do at least, or not. So I'm able to just be like, do I go for this or do I not go for this? Not a lot of voiceover in the beginning, at least, is just doing something on a whim. A lot of it is auditioning beforehand and submitting things that you have been able to tweak as much as you, not tweak, but redo as much as you want. Yeah. And it's good to just not get into that get spiral of doing things more than necessary. Sorry, my dog's gonna bark at someone at the door. But yeah, I think I didn't worry about it too much because when I heard it, it sounded good to me. So I get into my head about singing. I don't like people hearing me sing and thinking about what they're thinking about that. That is where my biggest insecurity is. But voiceover wise, I feel pretty good.
Wow, that's cool. I mean, I think you've gone to that moment. I assume that where you're like maybe at one point maybe there was like okay a little bit of concern, but like I think now you're completely used to it. Like it's fine. It's I know my voice and I know how it sounds like. It's fine to listen back to how I sound like. But yeah, you mentioning how before kind of college or something like you were kind of shy. I feel that because I'm shy all the time, and it's like one of those things where if there's a group of people, I'll be the one who's going to be silent, and then probably if anybody's not talking to me, I'll not talk back. If somebody talks something to me or says something to me, I'll be the one responding.
Socially exactly the same. Yes.
Okay.
Performance wise, different.
Oh, that's beautiful. That's perfect. Is because so for me, like I don't know if you feel that way, but like when people finally figure it out, oh, this guy's shy, they look at me differently. And they're like, okay, we're probably not going to talk to this guy over here. But like, is that something that kind of was also with you, or was that like not really, you were not bothered by that bit and you just focused on voice acting?
Yeah, I don't worry about it too much because if they're going to be like that, I don't think they're my people. And I think most of my people are nerds. And I feel like most nerds are used to socially anxious people. So I don't usually run into a lot of that. That's cool. And I live in Los Angeles, so there are certainly like parties with a bunch of actors or something, and that's probably a lot more extroverts than normal. But like, if they come up to me, I can respond. I'm not a good like bringer upper of topics, speaking on the fly, prompting things, blah blah blah. But I can respond fine. So most people who are going to be judgy about that, they're not going to know unless they don't talk to me, and then they're being a hypocrite. So like, you know, yeah. I don't know. It's fine.
Oh no. Yeah. You're right. Like it's these are different people, I guess, at this point. I should not focus really on that. But you know, I'm really happy that you're doing so many different things, and YouTube, with your YouTube becoming so popular in the initial videos that you did. The first video became viral. It just went over there, and you started doing a little bit of YouTube. How has YouTube making videos over there changed your life?
I would have been terrified to move to Los Angeles without YouTube. I went to school in New York, and I probably would have just stayed in New York and seen what I could have gotten acting wise on camera or voiceover, if it weren't for YouTube in New York. Because LA, it'd be like, maybe I know like a person. Eventually, a bunch of people I went to school with would end up moving to Los Angeles also. But before graduation, it's like, scary. I don't know anyone over there. But I got into YouTube like a couple years before graduation. So I met all these people in LA, and I like had a little bit of cushion money to like support myself while I'm there. So I knew that's where all the like YouTubers film collabs and stuff.
Yeah.
Collabs were like a way bigger thing 10 years ago. So it was way less scary to move to LA. So I don't know when, if ever, I would have come out here without YouTube. And beyond that, I wouldn't have gotten like my first voiceover agents and stuff without YouTube, because I was like emailed by agents being like, hey, if you're really serious about this voiceover thing, like come in for a meeting. And so, yeah, that's very rare to have for an aspiring voice actor to have an agent reach out to you. That's rare. So I'm very, very lucky there. Getting an agent is often like one of the hardest parts of becoming a voice actor.
Yeah. Wow. That's crazy. Yeah. It's like to get an agent reaching out to you like that is insane. And YouTube it has helped so much. And you're here because of that aspect of your life as well. But was there any point in time where you were like, okay, maybe I should focus more on YouTube? Or was that always the thing like, let's keep it as a side business thing, but I'm going to still focus on voiceover?
Yeah. I mean, I focused on it full time. Technically, it was my survival job. It still is, as in a sense, all of social media anyway. It's just, it has never been like the career goal, the lifelong, like, this is what I'm going to be doing for the rest of my life. I didn't see any like super longevity in that. And it didn't get me as passionate and like locked in as voiceover does. So it was never like, this is going to be my thing for my life. I don't think at any point. It was just like, oh, this is fun. This is awesome. And it's very encouraging and good for my ego. And it's kind of connected to voiceover. So hopefully it'll help me there, sort of thing.
I see. Yeah. And it has helped you quite a bit. And doing these impressions has helped you so much. And you continue to do so. And with all these different impressions, was that always the thing you thought about? Like, okay, let's plan for this next video. It should be about impressions of what should I do? Which impressions of what show, what series? Was that always in your head?
Yeah, basically that was always the thing. And in the beginning, it was so easy because there was so much media that I had never done anything with. But eventually, I did want to like branch out. But I didn't know how to do it in a way. I wanted to do it in a way that like people who subscribed for voice impressions would still not be too turned off by it. Like I started to do makeup tutorials, cosplay tutorials and stuff, but I was like, if I narrate it as the character, then it's kind of still connected.
Yeah.
But sometimes I just branched out entirely and I would just talk about nerdy things that I love. And it's like, well, they're here because they love these cartoons and video games and stuff. Most of these people subscribed are probably nerds like me. So maybe they're cool with me just talking about a thing or playing a game around a thing, even if I'm not doing an impression. And those usually don't do as well, certainly, but like, it's fine. A lot of people are very understanding of it, at least.
And that's cool. I mean, I understand that. Like, okay, let's try something. Let's try something different, but also try to match in some ways how the audience has been there, like the audience that you have. Like, how can I match, like all that stuff? And then I think at one point it's like I'm just gonna talk about something that I like, and possibly somebody's gonna come along. And I think I know those videos when you think about like talking, which is not technically what you have been known for, and you do something else, it's not gonna perform as well.
Right.
But it's still something that is like relaxing, I guess, in some ways, where you can I'm just gonna sit down and talk about that. which, to be honest, in my head, when I think about it, I'm also anxious and nervous. Like, what if nobody's gonna be there? Like, and all that stuff
Yeah.
is also all the time in my head. But like, at least like with all these different voice impressions and different the reasons why people come to you to watch these videos, has been so cool to see that you do all these different characters and get to do it so well. Like, you're so good at that.
Thanks.
And with that, you've done so much of that, and then you book your first game, and what did you feel at the time? You feel like, okay, finally I got here. What was it like at that time, like booking
Oh
that
my
first game?
gosh. Well, I did a few like indie games just like on my own, like easy little indie games. Like before I was ever SAG-AFTRA union or anything, I did some of those. And at that time it wasn't like crazy exciting. It was just like, oh, this is fun. Like, oh,
Yeah.
this is fun. And then I think my first like professional video game job was Final Fantasy 15 Monster of the Deep, which is a PSVR fishing game. Uh, and I'm literally just like the weather reporter on the radio in like the opening of the game. But it felt so professional because I actually went into a studio. I wasn't recording it myself at home. So the fact that I was in a studio recording with a director like on the other side telling me what to do was so exciting. I was like, oh, it's real. It's so fun. Yeah, that was very exciting.
Oh my god. Was like, you said you worked on indie games, and then you had this Final Fantasy game. When you saw like some of these indie game stuff that you've done versus when you saw the Final Fantasy, what was it like? Like, was there a difference of like, oh my god, that's Final Fantasy? And like the excitement levels, I'm assuming the excitement levels will be much higher. Like, oh my god, it's Final Fantasy. Even though like I'm a weather reporter person, I mean, still Final Fantasy. That's insane.
It was exciting to go to E3 that year and
Oh,
like
wow.
see my game there at the PSVR station thing. And like the demo wasn't at the part where my voice happened to be, but able to be like, I'm in this game. And the guy like running the thing was like, I was a developer on this game. And I was like, we made this game together. That's so cool. That's cool. Cause like I've never experienced that before. I would like record a few takes of some lines and send them through to a director or developer who would maybe give notes if they want a retake of something. They'd let me know, but basically it was very isolating, and I never like met those people in person in the early stages because it's just like working with people all over the world. And then it gets to a point where you're working with people who like are close enough in this like small industry that you end up like able to meet in person, and like it's cool. It's exciting. And Final Fantasy I knew was a big deal, but at the same time I knew this game was not because it's such a small side game. So it's kind of best of both worlds because it's like, this is a nice little baby step for me to not feel too much pressure, but also feel like I'm on the right track.
Oh, yes. And you were on the right track. And it's amazing. Like, from there to now, you've done so many of these games. But it's one of the things that I think a lot of people, they might know, and probably some people might not know, is like, as a voice actor, you do so many auditions, and then you have very less percentage of them, like where you say, okay, you're good to go, like you're in.
Oh yeah.
Do you get demotivated by those auditions not working out, or is that something that now you don't think about it because you just do auditions and you forget about them?
Yeah, I started tracking them last year for the first time, like making a spreadsheet. And let's see, I had 269, 300. I had like 600 auditions last year for like 600 different characters.
Wow.
And I maybe passed or like missed the deadline for 25 to 50 of them. I don't know. So and booked very little. So it's like a 1 to 3% booking rate sort of thing. it's just part of the game. It's just what I've understood since the very beginning, that I wanted to be an actor, was like that the job is getting rejected. Like, you just have to keep auditioning, and it's a numbers game until you eventually audition for someone and happen to be what they are looking for. And it's just all odds and numbers game, and you just got to get there eventually. And I'm just thankful that voiceover doesn't have the deadline that I felt like on camera did. So I'm trying not to stress about it.
Yeah, I'm happy, and yeah, that's a wild number to really see how it actually goes. But like I think at some point in time, maybe is like where you get some auditions, rejections, and that's fine. But eventually, probably some of them probably like, I really wanted that role, but I didn't get it, or something like
Oh
that.
yeah.
Is there something that you do to get yourself back up and like, okay, I gotta stay motivated, or is there something that you do to stay motivated to continue?
I think just consuming more content and just being like, this is cool. This is awesome. Um since I started tracking, I'm trying to keep better track of the auditions that I think I did awesome at, and like I wish I could cast myself in, and see if I can find it when it comes out, because often I don't even know what it is, what the
Mhm.
project is.
Yes, of course.
And they take years and years, so most of the auditions I did last year, a lot of them aren't out yet anyways. But I'm gonna try to track them down and like listen to the person who got it, and like try to hear, like, did they have a totally different take? Did it happen to actually be similar to mine? Like, what and why does it work? And I'm trying to like take it all as a learning opportunity and just consume more media and get inspired, because I love playing games and watching shows and movies.
Is there a recent show or movie or a game that really? I know Baldur's Gate 3 is like one that blew you away, but is that apart from that, is there any show, movie that really blew you away?
Has Been Hotel kind of blew my mind.
Ooh.
But also Has Been Hotel is the type of project where I'm like, damn, I could never be on this, because literally everyone is a Broadway actor, like
Yeah.
incredible singer. So that's not gonna happen, but it's fine. I can just appreciate it. Has Been Hotel for sure. In the past couple, I'm back on my Game of Thrones
Oh.
brain. I've rewatched House of the Dragon season 1, because season 2 is coming out
Yeah.
next month, and I'm pumped. I know there's some like video game. There's like a Telltale Games Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
I don't know if there's any more than that.
I don't
But
think so. Yeah.
that would be a cool world to be a part of. Really anything like high fantasy, I get pumped.
Oh, lovely. I love that. I love the Telltale games myself. I've not played the Game of Thrones one, but like I've loved the games like Wolf Among Us and Walking Dead. So I've played those two quite a bit. I'm super excited for the second one, Wolf Among Us, if that ever comes out. But
Yeah.
I'm excited to see that. But like one of the craziest games is that you got to be in was Bayonetta 3. You played Viola. And you were alongside Jennifer Hale, Greg Griffin, Yuri Lowenthal. You must have seen the credits, and then you have like those names, and then you have your name. What's that feeling? What's that feeling like?
That's wild to have. Yeah. I uploaded the clip, so I don't know if you've seen it, but
Yeah.
of me finishing the game and the credits are rolling, and it's first is Jennifer Hale, and then it's me, and then it's Greg Griffin. Like, that is insane to like just be sandwiched between those two legends at the very top of a game was insane. Yeah, it's wild. It's very special. I love Viola. I love Bayonetta 3. I have the Gates of Hell
Oh,
neon
yes.
sign right there. Yeah, I love Cheshire. I love it. I'm so obsessed. Yeah, very grateful.
Now, before we continue this conversation, I want to let you know that I need a little bit of your help. One of the best ways to directly support this podcast is by becoming a member of this channel. There's 2 tiers, casual fans and hardcore fans. If you're a casual fan, you can watch episodes like these in the future much earlier than everybody else. You also will be able to get special roles in Discord. Not only that, I will be announcing guests much earlier to you so that you can frame your questions. And if you become a member of hardcore fans, you can now watch extended, raw, uncut episodes, and you will also get personalized shoutouts in each of these episodes. Apart from that, if you have any questions to the guests, your question will get the highest priority, and I'll also be sharing some of the insights on what's happening in the world of video game every single week. So become a member right now and help support this podcast directly so I can make every single episode better than the last. And now let's jump back into this conversation. I think your character is like when the first your character meets Bayonetta and John in that bar, and then because John and Bayonetta have like this contained, I guess, voice acting, but you are like completely energetic, like going off the rails. So you're like shining completely all the way over there. So I love that scene because you are so energetic there. So ever since that, I think that scene hit me, and I went through with it. I was like, this is so cool. I'm loving how it's going. And I'm also, there were moments where I was sad and stuff, like later on where she is realizing what's happening, like who that person is, who Luca is. So like, but I really love the journey, and you did a fantastic job.
Oh, thank you. I was very nervous about that because she is so different in style to Bayonetta and John, but Cereza especially is just, she's so graceful, she's so controlled, she's so sexy, and Viola's just the opposite of all of that. So I wasn't sure if I thought people were gonna hate her, and certainly some people do hate her, but most people don't, and it's surprising and nice.
Oh no, I know, like there's people, to be honest, there'll be people who hate everything, even though it's the best of the best things. They're like, I did not like the color of that, I hate it. It's like there's some weird stuff that people say all the time, but there's people who love it, and you've done a fantastic job. But you said that you were nervous, and I'm curious, like during the first day of your recording of the day of the first day, how was your headspace like? Like, were you nervous? Were you anxious? Like, what was going through your head at the time? Or were you trying to prepare the best way you can?
Yeah, I was just doing the best I could. I think I had most, but I don't know if all of my lines at that point. I think I'm not sure if I either had most or all of my lines, but I didn't have anyone else's lines. So I couldn't really grasp how big my role was or wasn't. I could tell who she was to everybody, and I realized that was a big deal, but I couldn't tell how like protagonisty she was until I really like came in, and the director Chris Zimmerman told me everything, and just like kind of crazy, but I just did my best. Really, I was just focused on the director in that moment. I was like, as long as she's happy, I'm happy. Like, I don't think I was really thinking about everyone else in that moment. Just thinking about the director. Doing my best.
Absolutely, and you did great. And I know, like, actors, like I was talking to recently and an actor, and they were mentioning how a relationship with the director is very much important, and how it's if you have that, then you somehow also know immediately what the director wants, and you are able to kind of correct yourself, change yourself, however it is. And it's also crazy because obviously, as end consumer who just plays the game and doesn't know the process, I would obviously imagine like, oh, the actors must know the whole story, but like that's not the case. With it's like completely it's not going in a chronological order. It's just not going in the right flow. So it must. I'm assuming that you got to know about the story and the full thing when you got to play the game.
Yeah. I only knew about my scenes, and Chris would give me the gist of what was happening for all my lines, and to help me through it, give me all the context and everything. But I didn't know anything that would happen with Cereza without me there. So yeah, it's fun to experience. It's like half the game, I think, that I'm probably not in it.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's still surprises.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. And it's so cool because not only your character, your name is also in the credits right next to Jennifer Hale and Greg Griffin. You're also your character is the daughter of the character played by Jennifer Hale and the character of Yuri Lowenthal. Absolutely insane.
Yeah.
Like, when did you
Yeah.
got to know that that's the case?
Yeah, that was, I think, the night before I went in for recording the first time because they sent me my lines and I read them and I was like, oh, because I think Viola is the one who like says it. So I was like, am I reading this right? Am I her daughter? Yeah,
Wow.
very cool.
Jesus, that's insane. To not only be in a game like Bayonetta, and then you have Jennifer Hale, and you're acting beside them. You're also the daughter of that character. Insane.
It's the second time I've been Jennifer Hale's daughter. We did this fan for charity table read over Zoom for a sequel series to Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and she played my mom in that
Wow.
before Bayonetta. So
It's destined. It's destiny.
yeah, it's just my voiceover mom.
That's so cool. That's
And then
so
Gray
cool.
is my aunt.
Yes, yeah.
As the internet likes to believe, and Gray says that she refuses to correct anyone. So we're just gonna accept that.
Yeah. We're just gonna
If
accept
I
it.
could get any nepotism from that, that'd be great. I'm available for nepotism.
Yeah, all open for it. That's so cool.
Definitely my aunt. Yeah.
Yes, I will take that. It's so cool. I love that. That's how it's all sort of linked. And one of the things that what I liked was Luca giving strawberry candy to Viola, I think.
Yeah. Yeah.
Is there something in your childhood that you still like to this day? Like as a food item, could be something that anything that you still like to this day.
Probably not anything as hyper specific as that. It's just, I mean, it's just all sweet treats, really.
All of it.
But and anything magic, I guess, just something fantasy. Because my parents started reading me Harry Potter when I was in like second grade or something. So anything high fantasy magic has just close place in my heart since then.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing. And yeah, you were such a big fan of Harry Potter. You probably watched the movies, I think, on theaters, which was
Oh yeah.
oh yeah. And now I know like the Harry Potter is supposed to get kind of a reboot of some kind,
Yeah.
which is wild. Now that I see
Which
it, I'm
is
like,
dumb. If they're gonna be doing it, the fact that it's live action is stupid. If they're gonna do it, I don't even know if they should anymore. They probably shouldn't at this point. But if they're gonna do it, like, why isn't it animated? That like give us
Yeah.
like an Avatar, Last Airbender, Harry Potter. Like
oh
that
yeah,
would
that would
they
be
could
so
do
cool.
so much more with it. It would be so distinct. They're idiots.
It's weird to now see that. Okay, Harry Potter is gonna get reboot. I'm like, I don't know. Like, I know that Harry Potter, when the movies were out and like Half-Blood Prince onwards, I think like a lot of people are like, it's not related. It's not the same as the books. A lot of things are cut out and stuff like that, which I understand. And I thought like, okay, maybe with the reboot that they can explore that, but I just doesn't feel right because now like
Yeah.
they're ingrained. Those actors are ingrained in my head. Like,
Eh,
yeah, Daniel is Harry, like
Yeah.
Emma is Hermione. Like I just like that's how they are. So it's just very hard to like even imagine like how it's gonna go. Like it's not Marvel or
Right.
DC where it's just gonna change whatever. But like I hope
Yeah.
something good comes out of that.
Yeah.
Yes, but it's so cool that you have, and to be honest, the game of Bayonetta is so wild. It's there's dance in it, and I know like in the credits there's some dancing that even your character is doing. Did you try to
Yeah.
copy those dances? Did you do that dance at the same time? Is that something?
No, my Twitch chat has tried to bully me into it, but I don't. I don't. Unless there's like a tutorial, I can't. I don't think I can do it. If someone really like broke it down in a tutorial, maybe I could. But until that day, no.
Wow. I mean, it was really cool to see all the characters dancing by the end. And I was because I thought like it's Bayonetta, like she's gonna be dancing. But like now, it's now everyone. It's pretty
Yeah.
cool. I just really like that. Uh with playing the game, you finished it, and I know you made like the Viola cutscene, also reaction thing on channel. Um what was your favorite? Do you have like a favorite moment? It's probably very hard to pick one. Or do you have like top
Ooh.
3 moments from the game?
Ooh. I mean, it's probably after Cereza and Viola beat that creature together, and then a bell lands on her,
Yeah,
and she's like, what's the word? Claustrophobic.
claustrophobic.
And then she gets out and just like being so stoked that they beat it together and like going for a high five
Yeah.
and like yeah fuck yeah, and that leads into the like the VOL fucking A. So yeah, that whole scene I think is very important for her and Cereza's relationship.
Yeah. Oh, I love that scene. Yeah, I also like Belle came down and then she's all claustrophobic, walls coming in, I think on her own lines. And then she's like, I'm fine. I would have dealt with it. The timing was not right and all that stuff. So I
Yeah.
really like
That
that.
was one of my audition scenes as
Oh,
well.
wow.
Yeah, was that I could have dealt with that thing by myself, was just waiting for the right time to, yeah.
Pretty
So
good.
yeah, a little even extra special, I guess, because of that.
Absolutely, for sure. And it's cool. From then onwards, you had Immortals of Aveum. You played Kenzie.
Yeah.
How was working on Immortals different from Bayonetta?
Ooh, it's funny because they both happen to be like blonde pixie cut punky girls.
Yes.
But it was very cool. I Originally I auditioned with a self tape to do the performance capture, but then because of COVID, they're like, sorry, just kidding. We're gonna have these incredible three stunt people do all of the performance capture for the entire game.
Wow.
So I just did the voiceover, but I think I did have the dots on my face to like see what my face was doing for during my lines. So that was the only capture there. I had a face cam also for Viola for a lot of it, but not all of it. But I didn't have the dots.
Oh,
Immortals of Aveum was the first time I had the dots, and I was like, haha, the dots. And they gave me, I got free eyeliner out of it. They're like, here's some liquid eyeliner, packaged and everything. Go put the dots on in these places, and then I got to keep the eyeliner. So little
best
bonus.
bonus was how was it difficult for you to like with those like dots in your face? Was that something that became challenging, or was that something like
No, you can't
friendly?
feel it once it's on. The head cam can hurt a little bit if it's like, because it's supposed to be tight so it doesn't wiggle
Yeah.
around when you move your head. So definitely it starts to like dig like right here on my hairline after like an hour, but that's usually when we take a break anyway, so it's fine.
I cannot imagine because I'm now no actor, but like I cannot imagine like how it must be to have like this thing and on your head. I don't know how uncomfortable it might feel, but maybe like you guys know, like you guys probably are more comfortable now with that.
Mm.
What do you think about like play the game? What do you think about the game yourself, Immortals of Aveum? It's a very interesting game. The characters look amazingly real.
Yeah, it's gotta be the most underrated, most like skipped over game that I've ever been in. It just had like the most unfortunate timing, I think, of being released right between Baldur's Gate 3 and Starfield.
Yeah.
And I think it's really cool. I think it's really, really cool. I'm not usually a shooter fan, but the fact that they made it magic
Yeah.
and added a bunch of really cool types of magic as well. Just, I don't know, very fun and cool and satisfying to me. And Kenzie's cool. I like that she's like kind of punky, kind of rebellious, but also like a little flirty. Yeah, it's fun.
Do you think that there's some similarity between yourself and Kenzie?
Not a ton. She's definitely harder core on the rebellious hippie side. I am anti-authority to an extent, like when I recognize the corruption of authority, but I'm not as hardcore as she is. Yeah. And yeah, not as openly flirty as she is either. So, but yeah, I don't know. We talk kind of the same. Her voice is very natural. My voice, I think.
Yeah, and that's cool. I love her. I love her design. I like her like a lot of different things, like even the facial expressions and stuff like that. It's really cool. And I like it's like overall performance again did a fantastic job. And if you had a let's say if you had like all the tools in the world and you wanted to make her appearance look different, like maybe change hair, clothing, all that stuff, what would you do?
I'd give her my hair so I could cosplay her without a wig. No, I always prefer long hair, so I just give her long hair of some kind. I'm hoping Viola also in future games has a more of a hair situation because hair is part of their witch's magic and everything.
Yeah.
I'm hoping she has an updated longer hairstyle. It doesn't have to be normal long, like Bayonetta, like perfect girly long. Maybe like an undercut side shave sort of thing. I don't know, something with like more hair. I think. I just like longer hair. So give them both longer hair.
Yeah, yeah, I like long hair too.
But it makes sense for who they are. Whatever, good characterization.
Sure, we'll go with that. Yeah. I know. Like I like this idea of like also having long hair. It's probably something that is also with me. Like long hair looks good. But yeah, probably mods. Like there's a lot of people who mods these characters.
Yeah.
Maybe they can add these long hairs.
Yeah.
But like
Yeah.
another cool game you mentioned you just got this year and came out in 3 months was playing A.B.A and Guilty Gear Strive.
Yeah.
It's insane. You said in 3 months. Was the process of working on that game like was it quick or was that okay? It was still kind of relaxed, but you are supposed to be not rushing through, like working through all these things as quickly as possible. Like how was that work over there versus the other two games that we mentioned or talked about?
The biggest difference is that A.B.A was 2 2-hour sessions rather than 1 4-hour session. Like pretty much everything else I've done is 4-hour sessions. And I guess they just thought it'd be like vocally taxing or something. So they're like, we'll just be safe and split it up into two because since there's efforts and stuff. But A.B.A isn't particularly. I mean, she does yell, scream, but she's not like screaming bloody murder. Like the efforts weren't too insane or anything. So that was the main difference. Is just 2 different 2-hour sessions. I think it was so quick because they probably had it mostly animated already, if not entirely. They didn't show me, but they had like one little clip of like her entrance. They had a rough animation of that for me to like time to, but otherwise it was they play the Japanese audio for me and then I'd try to match the timing. I don't have to match lip flaps like anime, but it's just like within the time frame. Viola didn't have any time frame and Kenzie didn't have any time frame. So that's the biggest difference between those three is original voice of A.B.A is Japanese, and then original voice of just kidding. I mean, Viola also had original Japanese, but I don't think I don't remember hearing it. I don't know if I had to hit timing. I'm sorry, it was so long. I cannot remember if I had to hit timing for Viola or not.
Yeah, must be a long time ago anyway. Right? You probably worked on it 2021, I'm assuming, or
Yeah,
before that.
yeah.
Yeah, like oh, it must be. Yeah, I don't know. You're still remembering all of these things. It's insane to me. I don't even know. I remember last year what happened, but like yeah, I understand because like these are fighting games, and fighting games is efforts, and that require more. It's more taxing, as you mentioned, and so you requires a little bit more breaks, a little less time. But at the same time, it's the most interesting voice. I love how she sounds. Like it's
Thank
so
you.
so cool.
Yeah, she's at least very different character-wise
Yeah.
from Kenzie and Viola.
Absolutely.
Yeah, she's
Eh,
just yeah,
She's just
obsessive, lovey-dovey, jealous, rage. Unhinged.
unhinged.
Whereas Viola is very Kenzie is very cool. Viola is very trying to be cool, and then ABBA's just unhinged.
We will get back into this conversation in just a moment, but if you're a fan of video games like myself, you can actually buy posters, mugs, t-shirt design of those video games from my store. Right now, there are t-shirts, posters, and mugs available for Stellar Blade, Helldivers 2, Alan Wake 2, Banisher's Ghost of New Eden, and more is coming up. And the print quality of these shirts are really cool as well, including posters and mugs. So definitely check the store out, gameandmanners.com/store if you're interested in buying a merchandise like this and directly, again, support this podcast and this channel. Now let's jump back into the episode. You had this video that he posted on Twitter too about like all these your favorite like lines that came from that game. You're doing all of that. I'm like, oh my God, like that's insane. Like, I'm like, how do you not die after that? Like it's just in my head, like because I'm not like how do you like not because it's so much effort going on from as I'm listening to it. Maybe it's different for you, but it's so crazy. Like, do you remember the time when or do you had like an idea of like how I should do this, how she should sound like, or like how kind of this whole thing came together for this character?
Yeah, well, when I got the audition for ABBA, they gave me the reference of her original Japanese voice in the older games,
Mhm.
and they gave me a reference of the new Japanese voice actress in something else. They're like, this isn't how this is her in something else, but like this is the actress who's gonna play her. So I gave two takes, one which was like the zombieified version, because like her old games, her voice is very zombie,
Mhm.
very monotone. So I did that for the first take. And the second take, I tried to do it very similar to how I heard the new Japanese actress sounding. And then when I ended up doing it, I guess aimed for that second take because that's what they said they liked better. And I would hear her recording of the line, and I'd try to like get a similar tone and energy because they want him to at least feel like similar tone and energy. But I think they said, did they tell me to go deeper? Because her voice definitely is deeper than and less whispery, airy, breathy than my original audition. So I guess they just told me to like you could go a little deeper or something, and so I did, and it just became this more thing. So she became more wavery and less breathy than I think I originally had her.
No, that makes sense. That actually does make sense, and it's really cool. I'm sorry. Like I just the moment I heard the voice and all the lines, I was like, I'm drawn to her. Like instantly, it's like this is so cool because I want to listen to her all the time. Like it's all the voices, and then I saw like a YouTube video where there's like all the voices that she has all done. I'm like, I'm gonna listen to this 20-minute video with all of her voices. It's so cool. I love that. And then obviously you have that the character has that absolute love for Paracelsus, like absolute love, the key,
Yeah.
insane. What do you think about that relationship with that key, a living
Oh,
key?
the most healthy, least toxic relationship of all time.
Yeah.
No, but if you follow their story, it's got a surprising ending. You
Yeah.
don't expect them to find nuance and some sort of healthy solution and step in the right direction, but they do.
Yeah.
So it's very wholesome.
It is. Yeah. Yeah. It's it's pretty insane. Like because I never expected. Okay, I thought when I first saw like okay, it's I understand how this is. She just loves this key a lot, and she's very protective. But I didn't sort of understood like okay, the story is also going to take in a different way, different direction. So
Mm.
that was pretty surprising. Um, and yes, you mentioned like you had two different takes or audition or styles of the voice. But if you had the chance to do this character, voice this character in a different way, how would you like it to be? Is there something that you had in mind, maybe
Hmm.
from movies or from some other characters?
Not really. I really like where she ended up. I am very curious to hear and see what it would be like if she had that zombified voice on this design of the character. I don't know if it would fit or not, but I'm curious what that would be like. But other than that, I like her as she is. You can't fix her. She's perfect.
I agree to that. I really do. It's so cool. I just like I cannot get out the image out of like her character design is so cool. Her poses are very different, and
Yeah.
when she just zooms in, it's like but it's the key. Like it's the moment where I don't quite remember the line, but I think it's among the lines of like now nobody's here anymore or something like that. Like now it's
Yeah.
the time is like between me, you, and me, and something like that. So like I
We
love
have all
that.
the time in the
No,
world.
yes, that one. I was like so cool. I'm like so it's so weird. Like I'm so drawn to that. Those lines I really really love. But you earlier like we just talked. You mentioned like you're trying to get to play the game. So how has it been like to experience Guilty Gear?
So difficult. I had a callus on my thumb and I shouldn't have peeled it off, but I did. And then I'm gonna have to get a new one. My thumb was very sore. I have not gotten to the confidence of playing against real people yet.
Mhm.
But at least I beat her arcade mode on extreme up to the point of um Elfelt, like final boss, I think. Did I beat it? No, I don't think I did. Yeah, I up to the very last stage that I cannot beat yet on extreme route. But
Wow.
I've made a lot of progress though on learning how to combo and work things together. I don't know how to react to things yet. Like I don't know how to
Mhm.
know which way to block which moves or what. So if someone's coming at me, I'm doomed. But at least if I get a get into a groove and can get into their rage mode, like
Yes.
pretty good. I just don't want
I
to play real people.
I don't know. Like it's insane. You did it in extreme mode. Like I would probably not be able to do it in easy mode. Like because I'm so bad at fighting games. It's whenever like these fighting games come around. I'm like I'm story. I'm gonna go for it. I cannot fight, so I'm gonna try to do in the easy mode and somehow beat. And be like I feel good when they're not doing anything. I can keep on
Yeah.
punching. But it's so cool that you're doing it and playing with real players and people are so talented and like I don't know how do you how
I
much
don't understand. Their brains and their eyeballs work in different way. I don't understand how you can.
so
I don't
quick.
have the reactions time. I can't process things that quickly. This is crazy.
Yeah, it's I don't know how they do it. They probably have a different somebody gave them different set of eyes we don't
Yeah,
have.
they got a quicker refresh rate
They,
on their
they do have
brains.
quicker refresh rate. Yeah, it's insane. We got to upgrade. I don't know where we can find those upgrades. But you play games. You mentioned you have Baldur's Gate 3. You're a big fan. You have like one sitting right next over there. Um,
Oh yeah, we got a mind flare over here. We
Mind
got
Flayer.
withers over here.
Yeah.
Uh,
And so if you had, I don't know, like you must have played a lot of different games, but if you could wipe your memory out of a particular game and play that game again, which game would that be?
Probably Baldur's Gate. Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
And there's still more for me to experience. I've almost finished my first Dark Urge run now, and I just found a room that I've never found before. And I was very thorough with my first playthrough, so I'm like floored.
Wow.
Yeah. Probably Baldur's Gate. That might be my favorite game of all time. Which is insane to say because it's been out for less than a year, but wow, I was entranced. I had to like force myself away from it.
Yeah, I think a lot of people
cut down on streaming.
I think a lot of people were trapped in some ways with Baldur's Gate 3 because they're playing too much. And to be honest, there's so much to do. I feel like if anybody starts Baldur's Gate 3 today, I don't know, this year they can do much. Like they can finish, like if they really go by and reduce the amount of time they're playing. It's not possible.
Another game I would love to have my memory wiped and play again is God of War Ragnarok, because I had a big twist spoiled for me
oh no.
by stream early on. So I would love to have it wiped so I can play it without that.
What was the scene that got spoiled?
I don't want to say it. It's a big spoiler. It's someone's secret identity.
Oh, okay. To be honest, when I played, I think I got one scene probably spoiled. I don't remember which one, but it's probably my fault because I opened YouTube and then it's like people who put like thumbnails and has spoilers and I'm like, why?
I hate that.
Like, yeah, it's just, and then I just don't recommend channel. Please stop this YouTube.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, God of War Ragnarok is such an amazing game. I love that game.
Yeah. Yeah.
What would be your top 3 games of all time then?
Baldur's Gate 3. I have like 800 hours in Animal Crossing New Horizons, but I don't know if it qualifies.
What do you mean?
What? I don't know, because like I don't want to play it anymore. I don't know. But wow, it had me. The Last of Us. I think part 1, but it's tough between part 1 and part 2. Maybe part 2. They're tied. I don't know. I'm just gonna count them as 1. And then God of War. Probably Ragnarok.
That's crazy. Yes. It's so hard to choose, to be honest, between at the same time. Like it's Last of Us and Last of Us Part 2. I would say like it's so hard to choose. Like, can we just keep it 1? Last of Us Part 1 and 2. That's the game. I know.
The Last of Us. What are your top 3?
Oh my god. It's gonna be The Last of Us Part 1 and Part 2. I consider them as one game. There's another game, Ori and the Blind Forest, that I really love.
Oh yeah.
So cool. And I don't know. Max Payne 2. That's the other game that I really love.
What's that?
Max Payne 2. So Max Payne 2 is this detective noir style. It's very old. It came out like, I don't know when it came out, but it's before 2005. You are a detective. There will be comic book strips of storytelling, and you're trying to your wife got murdered, and you're trying to figure out like what is happening, trying to figure out the killer and stuff. And it has very twisted storytelling, very dark, extremely dark and twisted storytelling, and a lot of loops and a lot of interesting stuff. I would say like if you have not experienced that game, Max Payne 2 is it's one of those games that I really like. It has like bullet time, so you just jump. When you jump and you dive, it slows down everything, and so you do that slow-mo stuff. It's really fun. I've played that game a gazillion times, so I remember a lot. And I'm a big fan of the studio that works on it, Remedy, and they have like worked on Control and then Alan Wake and Alan Wake 2. So I'm like a big fan of their games. It's very twisted and turn. So yeah, that's one of those games that I keep them in my top 3. To be honest, my top 3 kind of changes at times. And there's so many incredible games keep on coming. It's so hard to pick.
So many.
So many. And one thing that even apart from your going back to YouTube a little bit and apart from your voice impressions, you eventually started also making some of them like advice for voice actors and starting out as voice actor and all that over the years now that you've worked on games and all the things that you've experienced, what would be the advice that you would give to anybody who is starting out or anybody who's interested but not exactly sure? What kind of advice would you give to them?
Acting, experience, lessons, classes, anything you can, performance experience, and work in those chops. Improv class, acting class, singing class, all those things. You don't need a college degree, but you need to learn how to do at least acting, and also improv and singing will help you, but you don't like need it. Yeah, so that's definitely the top 3. And then if you already know that, you're like, yes, please, I graduated in theater. What else? What do I actually do? You go to iwanttobeavoiceactor.com, D. Bradley Baker's website, and he tells you everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, you eventually get a demo made, but not before you're ready, and not by someone who just wants to take your money. You got to get like good recommendations, people you trust. Find someone who actually does this professionally and isn't going to just do it for a voiceover newbie, because then you're going to spend over $1,000 on a demo and it's going to be useless in a year because you're going to be so much better. So don't rush into a demo. Don't rush into reaching out to agents, because first impressions are important. So just take your time, because voiceover doesn't have a time limit. So just work on your chops. Have fun.
Beautiful. I love that. That's so cool. That's amazing. You must have learned so many different things, and things change over time. I think like acting, there's a lot of things that you are learning. Is there something that you wish you would have learned before in voice acting?
I wish I had learned earlier that auditions are very different from the job. Like in auditions, more often than not, you need to make all the lines sound different. Like you need to show a range, even if the direction you're given on the paper makes it sound like it's all the same. You need to either like create a new scenario for each line, put a different emotion or point of view on each line. Like they need to sound different so that the casting people can hear that you can go different ways with this character. Just so you have somewhere to go, and so they don't get bored. And so, because they're listening to 100 auditions of the character and they're all going to sound the same over and over again. But at least if your lines don't sound the same, you're going to stand out. So I wish I had learned that like auditioning is its own skill, and like you need to make each line sound distinct.
Yeah, that's a nice one. That's interesting. Well, now we have some questions from fans. So Arbiter asks, did you know about A.B.A before playing her? If not, then what's your technique to get into the shoes of a socially awkward girl with a romantic obsession with a living key?
I did not know about her until I got the audition. It was one of the rare auditions where they said what it was, and like linked to her previous voice and stuff. So that was the only thing, is I watched the clips from the older games and just tried to like match that energy. That's really it. I knew what it was, but I wasn't super aware. I am so oblivious when it comes to fighting games. I basically only knew Smash Bros. So was totally unfamiliar with Guilty Gear before getting the audition, but I just watched the scenes to try to figure out what her vibe was and went from there. And then when I was recording the original Japanese lines that play before me for reference and timing, was also helpful to just be like, this is the vibe.
Yeah, and it
not a lot of overthinking.
Worked out very good, very well. I'm so just blown away by that character. R of Trash asks, "What's your favorite Guilty Gear character besides A.B.A?"
Maybe Bridget.
Hmm.
I like Bridget. She's spunky. She's cute and she knows it.
She is cute.
She's
Yeah.
fighting with a yo-yo.
Oh man, you cannot ignore that. No, you're right. She's very cute. I would say that. Hold on. Funky asked, "How many keys would A.B.A have in storage?"
Keys? Like extra keys as accessories? Because she has more. Because she's like wearing a key. She's got a key
Yeah.
on her head. She's got a key on her belt. Like, does
Yeah.
she have more in storage? No, I don't think she has any more in storage because I think she'd be wearing them. Like, she's only got like 2 keys on her person besides Paracelsus. I feel like if she had more, she'd be wearing them.
Yeah. It's true. She probably would have had them all the way. Ugh.
She's not. I don't think she's a minimalist.
She's not. No. PK Dude asks, "What other fighting games would you love to have a role in?"
Super Smash Bros. I would die. Yeah. I
Oh
would
my
die.
god. Is there a character specific that you're like, okay, that's the one I would play?
Well, I mean, they've already got their voices. I don't think they really need to update the ones that already exist. Peach would be very, very cool, and at least Peach is someone whose voice has changed a lot throughout the years, so I wouldn't feel too guilty. Peach would be very, very cool, and I really like doing impressions of Peach, so that'd be sick. Or Zelda, but if they change Zelda in Smash Bros, they'll probably go with Breath of the Wild Tears of the Kingdom version, which is great. So Bayonetta's there. Viola could be there. I'm just saying it's not impossible.
Yes. Get it out
People
there.
need to write Mr. Nintendo and tell him.
Exactly. We need to do that. Like, you can't just go for it. Like, what are you guys doing?
If Viola gets into Smash Bros before Waluigi, I don't like. He's doomed.
That's true. Oh man. Ross C90 asks, were there any specific influences of other characters or people that you took when deciding how to portray A.B.A.'s voice?
No, I wasn't really thinking about anyone other than the pre-existing character and the new Japanese actress. I don't think I was thinking of anyone else, but maybe I was subconsciously. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you had all these already references with you there, so I think you didn't have to think of anybody else. So thankfully, and it's worked out so well. I'm just blown away by that character. I'm gonna say that so many times now. I'm sorry. Fledbug asks, "Is there any certain phrase you say to get into A.B.A.'s voice, or is it just like a switch that you can flip?"
No. Well, I think now I do. I didn't have anything then, but I think now my thing to get into ABBA's voice is just going, is just doing that. But no line, just like breathing.
Oh,
I don't
my
know.
goodness. I'm just imagining. It's just my wild mind. Just imagining when you're trying to start with that and somebody just doesn't know what's happening and just comes in and like, what is going on here? Just runs away. I'm like, oh, I'm seeing an interesting moment.
What do you want? Yeah.
Oh man. Wizard of Pancakes. How differently did she approach, or did you approach A.B.A and Viola?
Oh, they're so different.
Extremely.
They're so different. I don't know. It's just a totally different point of view, totally different motivations. Both can be angry sometimes, but that's really as far as it goes. But they're very different kinds of anger.
Yeah.
Like ABBA's is rage and Viola's is frustration. Like it's very different. I don't know.
Yeah, it is very different. Yeah, it's like so different. And I like A.B.A.'s rage quite a bit. It's so fun to listen to. But yeah, it's so different. And oh man, but yeah, it's both. All these characters are so cool. Uh, the
Yeah.
full Arcana asks, do you think Bayonetta 4 is going to be about a rescue mission to Inferno with an older Viola and John as the leads?
I don't know. I don't think, but I hope. That's what I want, but I have no idea.
I hope so. There's a Bayonetta 4, and we had I don't know if were there glasses by the end of towards the very end of but the game ends. I don't know if I'm probably wrong when Viola finally because the game was not showing Viola at that time. Like for some reason it was like not showing her face, and then when it shows her face, I think she had her glasses or something like that. So she looked pretty cool there, and I really like that. So I'm hoping that there's like another Bayonetta game. She leads it. It'll be fun. It'll be interesting. Lady a lot asked, what do you think Viola and her mother have most in common?
Huh. That's so interesting because they're so different. They both care about Luca.
That they do.
They both want to save the world. They're both witches. They both care about Cheshire in some universe or age.
They both can dance. Yeah. Dancing.
Yeah, I mean, Viola normally does. I feel like normally Viola would not be a good dancer, and they just made her in sync with everyone for the credits. But I feel like she wouldn't actually be good at it.
Oh goodness. No, I mean, I feel like she can be. I mean, she has learned to learn from the best. Like dance and do her special thing. It'll be fun to see that.
Yeah. But personality-wise, they're so different.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Tony Roni Pony asks, what is your opinion on the ending of Bayonetta 3 and Viola potentially taking the mantle of Bayonetta in the possible fourth game?
That's crazy. A lot of pressure. I still can't believe that happened. It makes me very nervous because I'm sure a lot of people hate it. I get it. She's so different, and this was very unexpected. So it makes me nervous, but it's kind of mind blowing and very cool. But I personally hope that I go and save Cereza and she's Bayonetta again. That's my hope.
Yeah, I can totally understand that. Oh, absolutely. I do know that there was a lot of this hate of oh, how come this ending happened? Was that, and I know with other games, especially with games like Last of Us Part 2, where everybody was just attacking the actors. Was that a deal that you went through in some ways? Were people against that? And
thankfully, no. No one tagged me in any Viola hate at all. I don't think. If I could seek it out, if I've definitely searched Viola Bayonetta on Twitter just see what people are saying, for better or worse. So I definitely see people hating on it and or justifiably disliking the ending and whatever. But no one's blamed me, thankfully.
No, I'm happy that's the case.
And if they did, they haven't reached out to me about it.
So don't reach out. Come on, I'm happy that there's not that level of craziness going on, because people are weird.
Yeah.
Sometimes.
No, Bayonetta fans are awesome. Last of Us fans, it's kind of scary sometimes.
I think Last of Us fans are always scary at this point in time. It's very hard for me to even go into one discussion without my brain just destroying myself. I cannot reason with anyone. Why do I do this to myself? V Martinez Cortez asks, what are things you love about Viola, mainly focusing on her design, character, lore, and gameplay?
Ooh, I love her outfit. I love her sword. I love Cheshire. Yeah, I love that she's a punk and she's got plaid pants and a leather jacket. That's awesome. I love her t-shirts. I have every single one in my closet.
Wow.
Wait, we're focusing on design and what?
Your designs, character, lore, gameplay.
Oh, I like that she's trying so hard to be cool, but is still supposed to be likable. I feel like that's kind of a rare character trait. Usually people trying really hard to be cool are not the like good guys or protagonists. Maybe sometimes, maybe more so in anime, I don't know. But I feel like usually that's more like bullies like trying to be cool and like being bullies because of that or something, but she's just trying to be taken seriously and is very earnestly attempting that and wanting to also do the right thing, but also she gets nervous when she's given that trust. So I don't know. I think it's very fun and relatable.
I get that too. It's relatable in the sense of like at least with the like they're trying to act cool at the same time, and I kind of relate to that in some ways because I used to do that and it never worked. So nothing.
It's like me in voiceover. I'm like, I've been doing this for 10 years. Like, put me in, coach. I'm ready. Like, I'm so well trained. I've got so much. Like, throw me in, and then if you throw me into something really big, I'm gonna be like, ha, okay, no, I can do this. This is fine. But I will do it. But my heart is gonna be like, boo, 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 boo. But at the same time, I'm like, I can do it. Trust me.
Just give me a chance. Fine. That totally understand that. And with that, I want to say thank you so much for talking to me about everything, all the amazing roles, voice acting, YouTube. It was really fun. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. It was so fun.
I loved it. I love the energy that you have. It's so cool. It's it's so open to just be yourself, and I love that about you. It's awesome. And you're streaming as well. You have like schedule. You probably are still going Guilty Gear at this point, I believe.
Yeah. I'm about to start Hades 2 though.
Oh.
Hades 2 early access just came out. I'm
Yes.
pumped. Yeah.
So cool. Did you get to play Hades 1? I'm assuming you have.
Yes.
Oh,
I
man.
hated it at first. I hated it because I was bad at it and I hated starting over and fighting the same things over and over again. But then I turned on God mode where I got more and more hardy the more I died. So I have a lot of defense now and I like it because I can actually beat it now. And get through the story and stuff. So I like it when basically it's on easy mode.
I have not been able to because I'm in the same initial boat of like I tried, I'm dying too much, I'm doing the same thing again and again. I'm like I cannot. How am I not able to? I'm just stepping out and I'm dying right there. I'm like,
yes.
I'm not even going through 1% of the story.
Yeah. God mode changes everything, and I like how God mode makes it sound like super hard mode. Yes. Like most games, God mode is like the harder than hard difficulty, but in Hades it just means baby mode.
It's in disguise. I like it.
Yeah.
But yeah, thank you so much again for doing this. This has been wonderful. I'm super excited to see what's coming up next for you and what other roles coming up. So I'm super excited to see what happens next.
Thank you so much.